Oh, here we go. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Greg Nelson. This is the Hard Knock State. We're talking about the third step in my four-step system to getting whatever you want out of life. And that is becoming a scribe. We want to learn how to put our dreams and our goals down on paper and commit to daily writing. The definition of a couple terms here. So what is Merriam-Webster's definition of a breakthrough? Well, number one, it's a sudden advance, especially in knowledge or technique. B, it's a person's first notable success, often used before another noun, such as a breakthrough novel. Number two, it's an act or an instance of moving through or beyond an obstacle. And that's pretty much what I'm talking about here. This is an act or an instance of moving through or beyond an obstacle. It's something's going on that's keeping us down, keeping us bogged down. Maybe we're just new to thinking big in general. Commit to our goals to daily writing. Once per day is good, but twice is better. This is today's topic, and we'll be covering the whys and the hows, or the best practices when it comes to putting our goals and our dreams down on paper, and the results and how that's going to affect us and affect our mindset and our attitude. Always keep your vision or your goal, that dream, in the forefront of your mind, and know why you're doing what you're doing. And so this is just going to constantly remind us and give us positive reaffirmation of why we're going after what it is we're going after. So become a scribe. Why? Well, simply put, write down what it is you want. Okay. It's one thing to hold the goal, the dream, and the vision in our mind, but it's another thing to write it down. And when we do this, this is like, it's almost like we're casting a spell into the universe. If you believe on working on frequencies, and if there's a lot of people and a lot of studies that talk about thought frequencies, and this is a way essentially to release that thought or that frequency into the universe. Well, if you follow that, that's a major reason to write your goals and your visions down. But really, the logical way to think about this is by writing it down. We're incorporating other senses, more than just our imagination. We're using vision and physical hand movement, and we're doing it all at the same time. So we're visualizing our goal. We're writing that down. And we're watching our hand, and we're feeling us writing and putting the ink on the paper. Okay. And it's all just repetitive. And then we watch we read what we're writing as we're visioning. And so we're just incorporating a multitude of senses into our mind. And it's been said that you've probably heard this many times before, but it's been said that repetition is the mother of all skills. And so we're reprogramming ourselves. Remember when we were talking about those little limiting self-doubts, and that negative self-talk and the talk of others, that when we tell them what we want to achieve and they come back, oh, why nobody's ever done that in our family. Remember your Uncle Frank, he tried something like that once, tried to open a business, and he mortgaged his house and he almost lost everything, right? And can't you just go get a job that pays you a good salary, a good, safe job that's reliable? And then so when you want to go out and you tell them something you want to do, this crazy idea, adventure, but it's going to work, but you go and you tell other people that, they tell you it can't be done. They tell you to go be safe. They tell you to don't take risks. They're not doing it to stop you from achieving their goals, because they'll support you along the way. They'll be scared as all heck, but they'll support you along the way. But but it's their fear that they're telling you. And they're telling you based off of the horror stories or the real life experience that they've had in the past. And so we go out when we have these mental blocks along the way. I talk a lot about the amygdala, and what the amygdala is, it's a almond shaped sized cluster of nuclei that resorts near our hippocampus. And it's there. It takes all the stuff that comes at us, everything we're interacting with throughout the day, whether we're going on a walk and there's cars coming by, or you see somebody else with a dog walking by you. It's taking all those images, everything from your vision, your hearing, your taste, your smell, your touch, all your senses, and it's running it through your central memory bank and trying to match up files of past memories of certain situations you were in before. And essentially, what that's going to do, based off of the current situation and those past situations, it's going to tell your body to whether you should stay and fight or run and hide, right? And the fight or flight system. And so it can make our body act in irrational ways if it recognizes a deep pattern or has this deep memory, solid memory, very emotional driven behind it, memory file. Okay, and it's matching it up to this current situation. We'll say it was a very poor, very bad situation in the past, and it's trying to match that up with this current situation. Well, you may freeze up and you may get nervous around this person, and there's nothing wrong with that person, but he or she may look or resemble, or maybe they're wearing the same kind of scent or perfume, or maybe the dog is this kind of dog that attacked you when you were a kid or bit you when you were a kid. And it's matching all that up so it can make our body act in irrational ways. It can freeze us up. It can cause aggression. It could make us run and hide, or it could just make us do nothing. If there was those situations that we've had repetitively in the past caused us no harm, no physical harm or emotional harm, and you smile and go along with our business, or it can make us act really happy. Well, so that's essentially what the amygdala's job is. Okay, but the reality is the amygdala, it floods our mind when we're running into situations or we're trying to take another risk to take our family to the next level in our life, and really trying to go after those big and crazy and wild dreams. All the past conditioning, all the sayings, all the little negatives, all the ideas of lack and shortages, and the little comments and the little phrases, they can come flooding through our mind, and they can just really stop us in our tracks and hold us back from going out and achieving what that is. Now, those little ideas and sayings, those are going to be different for everybody. That's it. It's not a one size fits all. And another thing about this is we all start at a different place. And so we can't compare ourselves and our successes to those that others are having, because our success and the way we go about achieving our goals and making that dream come true is going to be different than everybody else's. So we want to write our goals and our dreams down and our visions as if it's already happened. Okay. There is power in the words we use and the way we use them. If by just writing our goals and our dreams down as if I want to make $1 million, it will remain just a wish. Okay. It would be helpful, and you'll probably get further than not writing your goals or your dreams down at all. But really, for this 4-step system to really work for you, you have to write these goals and your visions down as if it's already been achieved. Okay. So instead of writing it down like that, write it down like I am worth $1 million, or I have made $1 million. Okay. As if it's already happened. The goal is the repetitiveness of writing it down as if it's already been achieved. By doing this over and over and over again, and we are going to increase the chances of the idea that it has been achieved, of that going into our subconscious brain. Be as specific as possible. We're essentially writing down the details of our visions. If our goal or our dream is to buy a house or investment property, what type is it? Where is it located? How big is it? What color is it? How many bedrooms? How many baths? If it's a monetary goal, how much exactly? And remember, think big, think massive. What if it's a business or a team? Is it a sales goal? What kind of goal, and what does it entail? Gross profit? Is it unit volume, or both? Right? Maybe it's a company culture or a shift in your within your team's mindset that you need to change, and you need to get everybody focused. Maybe you're trying to take your company in a new direction because you've kind of that the where it's been going, it's been off course, and you need to right the ship, or maybe you need to take it in a completely different direction in order for you to advance your company to the next level. And so maybe you need to shift everybody's thinking to something new. And if you've seen the big valley of despair kind of J curve about people and what they go through, the emotional change they go through to get on board and how long that can take. Maybe doing this and writing these down as if everybody's already on board and moving towards that direction. Maybe that's how you need to do it. So if you're a store manager for a corporation, it could be moving your store up from ranks, from from an average producing store, a store that maybe it's in the red, maybe you got saddled, as most entry level managers do. They always kind of get transferred, or in many cases transferred to the store. And so you could prove your worth with the company to try to get that company up to a profitable level. So maybe it's doing that and taking it from there, and you set a goal within the top 5 of your district, your region, or the nation. And if it's a large enough chain, and maybe that's what your new focus is, and you need to move everybody. You need to take everybody from average thinkers and move them to a top producing level. Well, writing your goals down as if it's already happened is the best way to do it. If you've heard of SATS, SATS, or with the medical term hypnagogia, this is a little weirder area, but this actually is quite interesting, because there are specific times, optimal times, where you should write your goals, your dreams, and your visions down as if it's already been achieved. And so the best time to do that is right before we go to bed, right before we go to sleep, and when we first wake up in the morning. And so by doing this, we're literally programming these as our last thoughts and our first thoughts of the day, our last thoughts of the day and our first thoughts of the day. So if you have listened to Neville Goddard at all, or followed any or read any of his books, or heard any of his teachings, he refers to this trippy like state that we fall into right before we go to sleep, or that groggy state when we first wake up. He refers to that as the state akin to sleep. The actual medical term for this state is called hypnagogia. And it's a really funny name, hypnagogia, but it's a reality, and it's a real thing. The idea during this state that we're constantly thinking about is more during the state of hypnagogia, or the state akin to sleep, is more susceptible. These ideas of things being accomplished are more susceptible to enter our subconscious mind. So if we're writing our goals and our dreams down right before we go to bed, and right when we wake up, we'll be focusing on our visions as we fall into this. If we're going to bed, as we fall into this state, and we're putting the stuff in our head in the morning as we wake up, and it's almost like it's a filter that closes back up, 15, 20, 30 minutes after you wake up and have your coffee and get going throughout your day, right? You're not in that weird dreamy, awake, dreamy, state any longer. So what are the results that we get from writing our goals down daily as if it's already happened? Are just astonishing. They really are. And so if we can get in the firm habit of doing this twice a day, If you could only manage to do it once a day, start at once a day, set a target that you're going to do it twice a day, and make sure you do it or do your best to get it done right before you wake. Put a pad or a piece of paper or whatever and a pen right next to your bed, on your nightstand, and just do that right when you wake up and right before you go to sleep, because it will create that vision as you're falling asleep of those goals, those big dreams you want to achieve. That is the last thing you'll think about. And you're out thinking about that on a subconscious level or unconscious level. It's going into your head. Hopefully it's doing some good work in your body, and 8 hours later, 6, 7, 8 hours later, you wake up and you write it down again, and you start your day and you start moving forward. And we start doing this and we start writing our goals down, whatever it is you want, you start writing it down over and over and over again, twice a day. And if you could do it again 15 minutes before you go to bed and 15 minutes within that window after you wake up. After about 3 days, you'll start to develop a new perception, or as some call it, as like say, if you listen to Bob Proctor, as he calls it, a new paradigm. And so we'll start to witness things falling into place, little things. They may not be massive. They could be massive, depending on how big your belief is and where you're starting at. But typically for most, it's going to be little things are going to start falling into place. We're going to bump into somebody who might be able to help us, or know somebody else to help us get one step further to where we're going. Or maybe, maybe we need a monetary thing, and maybe somebody's willing to invest in our idea or whatever it is. The reality is, we're expecting it to fall into place, because we're knocking out those negative thoughts, the visions of self-doubt, the limiting things. We're kicking that to the curb, replacing it with the thought of victory. We know what it is we want. We've committed to it, and we're changing the way we're thinking about everything. And now we're writing all these goals down. And so all this repetitive motion. So if you can think about, the world moving, or you've been going like this, you've been going counterclockwise, and it's just been you've been like kicked in the butt over and over throughout life, metaphorically, been kicked in the butt over and over and over again. Every time you try to advance, time you try to move forward to benefit you and your family, make a little bit of extra money, make sure that you can look at the end of the month, have a few $100 left over to go out and have a nice dinner, or put it into savings, or whatever. And now you're starting to think differently, and we're taking those goals, and now that world, that universe we're living in, our paradigm, it's slowing down, and it's starting to move the other direction towards our favor, where little things are just bing, bing, bing. All of a sudden, little things are starting to fall into place, and we build up momentum. And then we keep kicking that negative self-talk, and we learn not to really tell our goals and our ideas to the masses of people or other people out there, because why even have to combat or even listen, or have them speak negativity, or have you even think negativity by telling people that. And then so your universe starts moving in the other direction and moving with you in a positive way, and you start to develop this no limit thinking of anything is possible. And your goal, you can actually see it, your vision of you achieving that goal, living in the vision of victory. It just gets brighter and it gets more vibrant, and you develop a new confidence, and well on to the next step.